Greetings. I am Michael Alexander. I am your Chief Judge for the 2023-2024 contest season for District 100. Welcome to the online training for voting and tie-breaking judges. We are going to have this season 2 contests, 1 table topics, for which all the contestants will be brought from the room and brought in one at a time so that they can all answer the same question for comparison purposes, and of course the international speech contest, where they can stay in the room the whole time, where they can speak on any speech, on a topic, in any style they want. Club level contest is where things start. Clubs can compete either in person, virtually, or in a hybrid fashion. But of course, the clubs can actually choose members by any means that they choose. But once we reach the area level, the contest will be this year online. The winner from the club contest going to the area, the winner from the area going to the division level, which will also be online, and the winner from the division level will appear at the district level, either online or in person at their choice. In this training, I'm going to talk about the qualifications for judges and the procedures for the contests themselves. First of all, the qualifications. A judge may not be a contestant at the same or higher level. We don't want you judging your potential competition. The judge may not be a candidate for elected district official, either at the or higher, frankly. And that includes, of course, anything above the club level. A judge should not be in the same club as a contestant, except in the club contests or area contests. There are exceptions that can be made, or if we absolutely cannot get enough judges otherwise. Judges must be a Toastmaster member in good standing for at least 6 months and have completed either 6 manual speeches in the old CC manual. Yes, this does still apply for judging, although it does not apply for competing, or they must have completed both level 1 and level 2 in a particular path. What's the judge's task? Very simply, it's to pick a winner. Not to evaluate, not to show preference, simply to pick a winner. How do we do this? We do this by looking at the ballot. Now, the traditional judge's ballot, this is the one for table topics, has a space across the top for the names of the contestants. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for table topics, more for the international. Speech development, the effectiveness of the speech, the physical behavior, the voice, the appropriateness of the speech to its purpose, and correctness. Now you say appropriate to what? Well, if you look at the second column, it says language. That is whether or not the language is appropriate. Above it, there is a section for delivery, which covers both physical and voice, and content for speech development and effectiveness. There are also suggested point values for excellent, very good, good, and fair presentations, and you will simply enter your number under each candidate. For those, develop a total score, and that is the score that you as a judge will be giving the candidate. These will be summed across the various judges for final comparisons and final votes. The international ballot is very much the same. It has slightly different categories, but it's the same basic thing. And the 2 sheets, that's what you want to fill in. And we'll look at the scores again. When you are done, you are only to turn in the first 3 contestants, the top 3 rated ones, unless you are a tiebreaker judge. The tiebreaker will have to turn in for all of them, so that if there is a tie among the judges, you can determine who wins. However, no judge should ever turn in a tie. If you turn in a tie as a judge, your ballot is invalidated, and that's not a good thing. So when you turn in your paper ballot, you will see there's a space for first, second, and third place, no ties, a place for your signature, which is required on a paper ballot. Otherwise, your vote will not be counted. Please be sure when you put down the names of the contestants that you put down their full names correctly. Yes, it has happened to me that people have mixed names, and I've had the first name from one person next to the second name of a different person, and I couldn't tell who received which vote. Please note that the tiebreaker ballot will include spaces for more places, 4th, 5th, 6th, etc., until all contestants are available, but the mechanics other than that are the same. Now, I will also be providing for you an Excel version of the ballots. These are particularly useful if you are working in a virtual contest. These will not just provide the same data, but they'll provide the sums at the bottom without you having to do the arithmetic, which should speed things up. They will also go ahead and provide at the bottom who had the highest score, first, second, third, and fourth in this case, so that it's very easy for you to quickly pass that on to the ballot counter. What happens, however, if there's a tie? Well, the electronic spreadsheet actually will identify who is involved in a tie so that you can resolve it. Anytime there is a tie, whether on paper or electronically, break the tie yourself. Give someone an extra quarter or 16th of a point so that they're not quite the same. Break your own ties again, otherwise your ballot will not count. That's the basic for the ballots. Now, for the contest itself, be sure to share your phone number, that is your text number, with the chief judge and the ballot counters before the contests. Please come in early. Make sure that you've gotten or downloaded the ballots and been briefed by the chief judge to the degree the chief judge wants to brief you. You will then retreat to a breakout room. Make sure that you print and sign your full name on the ballot if there's a paper ballot, and tear off the bottom because that's all you'll actually turn in. You don't have to tear it off the whole way, but enough that you can do it off quickly. When you arrive for a video contest, enter with your video off and a name like Judge Number 1. This name will probably be assigned to you by the chief judge so he can make sure that everyone is there. Stay anonymous from the start because we don't want people to know who you are. The contest master will then bring up the contests in the speaking order. You may be able to find it on the contest program so that you can enter those onto your ballots in advance. After the contestant speaks, you will have a minute to mark your ballot. The contest should stay silent while you do this. You can wait till the end to add the score if you're doing it on paper. If you're doing the electronic version, that won't take any time. But after the last contestant, take as much time as you need. Do not let them rush you under any circumstances. If you have an actual physical problem, tell the chief judge. But other than that, if you're just not fast with math, don't worry about it. On paper ballots, write out the first, second, and third choice, full name. Put the ballot in an envelope, check to make sure you signed, and hold that up to be collected. Or for the virtual contest or virtual judges, simply send the electronic copy to the ballot counter via text Do not use chat, because if you do, something can go wrong and it go to the wrong person. If you lose your connection during the contest, don't vote, because then you will not have seen all of the candidates on an equal basis, and your vote could be biased. However, immediately inform the ballot counters and chief judge that you will not be able to vote in the contest. There is one other important function you must perform: protests. Protests to a speaker may be issued for one of two reasons: eligibility. They may not be eligible to compete. They could be officers. They could not have been in Toastmasters long enough, or some other reason. The other protest could be issued for originality. If they are giving a speech which you have heard before and not from them, and that speech is less than 75% original, a certain amount of quoting is acceptable. 75% is the key number. Then this also is subject to protest. A protest may only be lodged by a contestant or a voting judge, not by a tiebreaker judge and not by a chief judge. The protest must be delivered to either the chief judge or the contest chairman, and you must make it before the winners are announced. Please realize, however, that just because you protested doesn't necessarily mean that the person will not have a chance to defend themselves. They might actually be eligible and you are incorrect. It could be that although you have heard the speech before, you've heard it from them or read where they published it. So don't worry, they'll have a chance to defend themselves. But remember, it's up to you to lodge the protest so this can be checked out. What makes you a good judge? Well, first of all, you judge. You're not evaluating. The purpose of a judge is not to help the speaker be a better speaker in the future. It's to choose which one did the best job on that day with that speech. Now, there are some possible biases you have to worry about overcoming them. You may have heard the speech before or the speaker before. Certainly, if you were at the division level or the district level, you may have heard them at the area. Don't get bored by that. Don't say they did better before. Don't say they did worse before. You're judging them on that day with that presentation. He or she may have great vocal variety or some other particularly magnificent feature, but you are to judge them based on the total points that you've laid down on the ballot. Now, let me warn you that there will come times when the points don't match what you like best, again, because of things like great vocal variety or something else. But we want to make sure that all speeches are judged objectively, so put down the same numbers for each category and sum them up. If someone's tried before and not won, we don't let that affect our opinions. Or have they been in and won many others? That doesn't matter. It's this speech, this time. If the speech subject makes you feel uncomfortable, that's unfortunate, but it doesn't affect how well they delivered the speech they wanted to give. And that's what we're judging. How effective are they at giving the speech they wanted to give? We don't care who coached them. And there's a natural bias towards the first speaker or the last speaker. It's human psychology. Overwhelm that when you're filling out the ballot. Now, there are some people who try to hide what they've given to other speakers and fold the ballot backwards so they can't see it. Any people like this? Personally, I like to make sure that if I think alpha did a better job than beta, that I've given alpha a higher score. So I like to be able to look at them and say, given what I gave one candidate, I've got to make sure that my comparative scores match. Lastly, again, use the judging criteria on the judge's guide to the best of your ability. Remember, these people have to compete at a higher level, and that means we want them to come in on an equal footing. Go through the criteria on the back of the judge's form before the contest to make sure you understand them. Determine the appropriate judging item for each point subtraction or addition. Avoid any bias in favor of people who appear in person or in favor of people who appear online. We want those both treated equally. And lastly, do not consider if the contestant was overtime or undertime. We have a timer for that. The timer will take care of that with the help of the chief judge. Your job is to score the speech itself, not the timing. That's the primary education on how to judge. Remember to properly register. There is a certificate of eligibility and code of ethics, which you need to fill out and turn into the chief judge before the contest starts. Remember, do not give any feedback to the contestants as a judge. This can be highly contentious and difficult. You don't want them bearing any bias or resentment. And even if you're not worried about it, if you tell a contestant your feedback, it puts pressure on other judges who may not feel comfortable. When you're done, take the judge's guide home, the ballot home to discard. Treat it as classified waste. Do not put it in a local trash can. There are people who will dumpster dive to see who voted against them. Don't let that happen. Thank you for volunteering to judge. If there are any questions, please feel free to contact me, and please remember to turn in your registration sheet. For more detailed training, you can go to tinyurl.com/TMcontest2024, and you can see what Toastmasters International has provided. I believe everything you need was in this training, but if you want to see the rest, it's available. Again, my name is Michael Alexander, and I can be reached at the places below. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. Thank you very much.